The charts are whispering a new trend, and somewhere in the background, a massive wave of institutional money just made its move. What is happening with Shiba Inu? A staggering 154% explosion in trading volume has just been recorded, driven by quiet, strategic accumulation from some of the largest wallets in crypto. This is not just a spike, it is the clearest sign yet that institutional money is piling into Shiba Inu. Let's break it down. Welcome to Dr. Crypto, your daily serving of Shiba. This is the spot for you if you're curious about anything related to Shiba. If you want to keep informed about all the latest news forecasts and stay ahead of the crypto industry, subscribe. To get more Shib news, be sure to click the like button. Please note that by the time you see this video, some rates may have changed. Financial advice is not included in this video. Trading volume is the lifeblood of any financial asset, and for a cryptocurrency like Shiba Inu, a massive surge in volume is a critical indicator of renewed market interest and liquidity. Historically, Shiba Inu's price movements have been driven primarily by retail sentiment and community hype. However, the nature of the current volume explosion suggests a fundamental shift in the market's composition. Institutional money, often referred to as smart money, moves with strategic intent, typically accumulating assets quietly before a major price move. Their involvement brings stability, deeper liquidity, and a validation of the asset's long-term potential that retail interest alone cannot provide. The context for this surge is the ongoing market rotation in late 2025, where capital is shifting from established assets like Bitcoin into high-potential altcoins, especially those with developing ecosystems like Shibarium. This new institutional interest is not just about speculation. It is about positioning for the next major bull cycle, viewing Shiba Inu not merely as a meme coin, but as a high-beta asset within the broader crypto portfolio. This volume explosion is the first tangible evidence that this strategic institutional positioning is now in full swing, fundamentally changing the dynamics of the Shiba Inu market. The central event is the massive 154% surge in Shiba Inu's spot trading volume, as confirmed by data over the last 7 days. This explosion in activity was concentrated on major exchanges, including Kraken, Binance, and Bybit, signaling a broad-based rather than isolated accumulation effort. This volume surge was immediately followed by a highly significant on-chain event, a major outflow of 4.1 trillion Shiba Inu tokens, valued at approximately $35 million from the Coinbase exchange. This monumental transfer was executed in 2 transactions and moved to 2 unknown non-exchange wallets. Analysts and community trackers interpret this as a clear sign of accumulation, where large holders are moving tokens off exchanges and into cold storage for long-term holding, reducing the immediate selling pressure. This move is particularly notable because it occurred just as Coinbase announced the launch of Shib perpetual futures contracts on December 12, a product specifically designed to attract institutional and professional traders. The simultaneous surge in volume and the strategic whale transfer off an institutional favorite exchange like Coinbase strongly suggest that the 154% volume explosion is indeed being fueled by large, strategic players quietly entering the Shiba Inu market. The market has responded to the volume explosion with a quiet but firm upward trend. At the time of this report, Shiba Inu is trading at 837 units. This price reflects a notable 7% price increase over the past week, a direct consequence of the massive buying pressure indicated by the volume surge. The 24-hour trading volume has settled at approximately $105 million, a figure that, while lower than the peak of the surge, remains robust and indicates sustained interest. The market capitalization stands at approximately $4.97 billion. The price action is currently consolidating near a critical support level, but the volume data suggests that the consolidation is a period of accumulation rather than distribution. The key takeaway is that the market is absorbing the massive volume without a significant price dump, which is a classic sign of institutional accumulation. Unlike retail-driven pumps that often lead to quick sell-offs, this volume is translating into a steady, upward pressure on the price, signaling a healthier, more sustainable rally driven by deep-pocketed investors who are less likely to panic sell. On-chain data provides compelling technical evidence supporting the institutional accumulation narrative. The most significant data point is the aforementioned transfer of 4.1 trillion Shiba Inu off the Coinbase exchange. This movement reduces the supply available for immediate sale on exchanges, creating a supply shock that can fuel future price appreciation. Furthermore, community trackers show that in the last week, Shiba Inu whales have accumulated over 96.67 billion tokens, signaling strong confidence in the asset's near-term prospects. Technical analysis of the price chart shows Shiba Inu consolidating near a critical support level, with the relative strength index hinting at a potential bullish crossover. The volume profile, which shows the 154% surge, is a key technical indicator that often precedes a major price breakout. Analysts are watching the resistance level at 1,580 units. A sustained breakout above this level, supported by the current high volume, would confirm a major trend, reversal. The on-chain evidence is clear. The large-scale movement of tokens off exchanges and the sustained high volume indicate that the foundation for a significant upward move is being laid by strategic, well-funded entities. The analysis of the 154% volume explosion points to a profound implication for Shiba Inu. The token is rapidly transitioning from a purely retail-driven meme coin to an asset with significant institutional backing. The launch of Shib perpetual futures on Coinbase is a major institutional validation, providing a regulated avenue for large funds to gain exposure to Shiba Inu without directly holding the underlying asset. This move is a game changer as it integrates Shiba Inu into the traditional financial ecosystem. Analysts suggest that the current accumulation is a strategic move by institutional investors to front-run the anticipated liquidity boost that will follow the Coinbase futures launch. The implication for the ecosystem is that the focus must now shift to providing the utility and security that institutional investors demand. While the burn rate remains a long-term factor, the immediate price action is being dictated by these massive capital inflows. This institutional interest provides a powerful new narrative, suggesting that Shiba Inu future value will be determined not just by community sentiment, but by its strategic position in the broader crypto market rotation. The Shiba Inu community is understandably ecstatic, viewing the volume explosion and institutional whale activity as a massive validation of their long-term conviction. Social media platforms are buzzing with renewed optimism, with many community members interpreting the Coinbase whale outflow as a sign that the smart money is finally recognizing Shiba Inu potential. Developer reactions have been focused on leveraging this institutional attention to further the Shibarium ecosystem. The development team has consistently emphasized the importance of utility, and the current institutional interest reinforces the need to deliver a robust, secure, and high-volume Layer 2 solution. The recent integration of AI features and the focus on K9 finance are seen as strategic moves to build the kind of sophisticated infrastructure that appeals to institutional capital. The community is now rallying around the narrative of Shiba Inu strategic position, with a renewed focus on promoting Shibarium adoption to ensure that the institutional capital has a sustainable ecosystem to invest in. The overall reaction is one of triumphant vindication, as the token's long-term vision appears to be aligning with the actions of major market players. The forecast for Shiba Inu is overwhelmingly bullish in the short to medium term, driven by the continuation of institutional capital inflows. Short-term, analysts predict that the price will continue to test the key resistance level at 1,580 units. Successful, high-volume breakout above this point could trigger a massive rally, with some forecasts suggesting a potential 200% rally in the coming weeks. What to watch is the trading activity on Coinbase's new Shib futures market, as this will be a direct gauge of institutional appetite. Long-term, the forecast is now tied to the stealth quantitative easing environment predicted by Coinbase Institutional, which suggests a sustained liquidity boost in the crypto market until April 2026. This macro trend, combined with institutional accumulation, sets the stage for a major price appreciation. The key long-term watch item is the total value locked on Shibarium. If the institutional money begins to flow into the Layer 2 ecosystem, it will provide the organic utility needed to sustain the rally and finally make the burn mechanism effective. The The price prediction for the end of 2025 suggests a potential change of 17.20%, reaching a price of 1,019 units. But this may be conservative, given the new institutional momentum. A balanced opinion must weigh the massive upside potential against the inherent risks of a speculative asset. The primary risk is that the current institutional accumulation is a short-term trade to front-run the Coinbase futures launch, which could lead to a sudden, sharp sell-off once the initial excitement fades. The fact that the burn rate remains low is a persistent red flag, as the token's fundamental deflationary mechanism is still not fully functional. Investors must be cautious of the narrative that institutional money guarantees success, as large players can be just as quick to exit a position as they are to enter. The neutral insight is that the current volume explosion has fundamentally changed the risk-reward profile of Shiba Inu, making it a more serious contender in the altcoin space. The cautionary point is to monitor the whale wallets that moved the 4.1 trillion Shiba Inu off Coinbase. If those tokens begin to move back onto exchanges, it would signal an imminent distribution event. For now, the evidence points to accumulation, but the risk of a sudden reversal remains high, demanding a cautious and vigilant approach from all investors. So, the quiet money has spoken. A 154% volume explosion and a $35 million whale move off Coinbase are the clearest signals yet that institutional investors are positioning themselves for Shiba Inu's next major move. The market is buzzing, the charts are turning bullish, and the token is on the cusp of a major transition. Will this institutional wave finally push Shiba Inu to new all-time highs? The coming weeks will tell the story. We will continue to track every move. The day is over now. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. To see our most recent material, share it, and subscribe to the channel.